Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue watching Elizabeth and Andrei on 90 Day Fiancé. I'm going to react to it. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. Let's see if anything of interest comes out of my face as I watch.
I've never seen you act that way. I've never seen that look in your eyes before. You were so enraged.
Sorry, Lib. What?
Sorry, Lib. Okay. Very sincere.
What do you want, Lib? What do you want? I'm
what do I
apologizing.
want?
Okay, so you've heard me say this before, and I'll say it again, that just saying you're sorry is not usually sufficient. What you need to do when you apologize is you need to first take inventory of yourself and what you did and how you got there. You need to say, okay, what did I do wrong? How did I harm other people? How can I maybe change things in the future or try to change things in the future? How do I really make sure other people understand that I understand what they went through because of my actions? Those kinds of things. You need to take inventory, and then you need to tell someone else about it. You need to say, I'm sorry for losing my temper last night. I was out of line. I could have, various different explanations. I drank too much. Your brother triggered me. I was trying to impress my friends. I felt like you weren't really on my side. I was kind of stressed out. It's not an excuse, but it does provide some factors as to why my defenses were down or my ability to regulate my emotions were down. And I lost my temper, and I confronted your brother, which was completely out of line. I will say that your brother was a jerkface to me, and your dad was kind of as well. And you weren't really in my corner. It's not an excuse. I'm just saying that I have my own bone to pick with everyone here, but I will take absolute responsibility for what I did, which was completely uncalled for, and I will apologize to them. I hope that they apologize to me as well in terms of what they did wrong, but I definitely am, responsible for what I did, and it was not okay. You don't act that way. I'm a grown man. So that's a full apology. And then you want to add on to that, in the future, I'm going to try to not drink as much. I'm going to go to therapy, work on my emotional regulation, work on why I get so triggered by some people. I'm going to try to improve my relationship with your family. I can't guarantee I'm going to like them, but I'm going to try to make things better so that I'm not quite as triggered and they don't seem so triggered by me. I am going to try to talk nicer to you and everyone else in the situation. And so I don't know if I'll succeed. I probably won't entirely, but I'm going to really try. Okay, so that's a full apology. And that doesn't even take that long. I did that in, 90 seconds. I don't know how long it took. And it didn't even take me that long to think about it, right? But some people have never had that modeled to them, so they have no idea what that looks like. Also, some people are so insecure because of relational traumas that they've gone through early in life and throughout their life that they're terrified to admit that they're wrong, because to admit that they're wrong, they believe is to risk everyone realizing that they're a fraud in various aspects of life, because they deep down don't feel like they belong anywhere, and they feel like they're in a constant state of being inferior or wrong or something. And so as a defense to that, they will refuse to acknowledge that they did anything wrong, and it'll be really hard for them. And we all go through this when we are just in the middle of a fight, say, or just after a fight, and we're thinking, oh, I think I probably crossed a line there. It can be hard for perhaps all of us to apologize in that situation because we're in a vulnerable state. And usually once we gather our internal resources and think about it a little longer, our physiology comes down, then we're able to reflect and apologize and take responsibility. So, all of us are like this, but some of us are like this all the time, where they're in a constant state of being physiologically heightened because of fear and, adrenaline responses to threats and a terror of admitting that one is wrong. So he is saying, sorry, Lib. And then Elizabeth is like, sorry? And he's like, what are you talking about? I apologize. It's like, no, you didn't. You said the words, but you didn't apologize.
You're just apologizing because I have to lead you to apologize. That's not sincere.
How much do you want? I'm not gonna just bend over here for you to believe me.
So this is not surprising that he is seeing this as a one up, one down scenario. He's saying, I'm not going to bend over. That is a statement of I'm not going to be below you. I'm not going to give you dominance. I'm not going to be submissive. He is pretty much in a constant state of seeing the world through that lens of, am I on top? Am I dominant? Or am I being dominated? Or am I being controlled? It seems like a really sore spot for him, and I'm guessing there's some sort of trauma. It's hard to imagine given how nice his family seems to be, but who knows? Could have came from his family, as I was saying in earlier videos. Just because a family is nice doesn't mean that they aren't harmful to their kids, because they absolutely can be. Also, we learned that he grew up in kind of a tough neighborhood, and there could have been a lot of power struggles and threats there, and that's where he got the complex. Who knows? But he says he sees this scenario entirely, the dominant worry that he seems to have is being dominated. Any sign that someone else is in control of him is an extreme threat to him. And so in this moment, instead of just seeing it as, I made a mistake and I need to apologize, and I also have some needs that I would like other people to acknowledge for me, he can't see it that way. All he can see is, I need to stay on top. I need to stay dominant. I need to stay in a position of power. And of course, his efforts in doing this actually makes him seem weak, makes him seem like a child, makes him seem like he's immature. And that's the nature of most destructive defenses, which is that our effort to establish something, because we have fear, and then we have a defense to deal with that fear, but then our defense actually enacts the threats that we are afraid of. His constant worry of being under someone is constantly making him under someone because of the way he acts. For Elizabeth, she has the higher ground here. She's saying, you did something wrong and you need to apologize. So his effort to be on top makes him below her, if that makes any sense. And all of us do this. All of our defenses that we rely on, the destructive ones, will tend to do that to us. So it's interesting. So let's listen to more of this, and I doubt this is going to go well.
I said I'm sorry. That's it. You're my wife. Believe me. Like we've been together so many years already. Like you.
So I think that points to what he said. You're my wife. He frequently says that, and I think he is trying to say, I feel hurt that you aren't on my side sometimes. If he were to be mature and self-aware and emotionally regulated, my guess is he would say something like, look, I did something wrong last night, it's true, but I kind of feel like you're frequently not on my side. I feel like when your family and I do bad things, and I'm responsible for the bad things that I do, I feel like you attack me instead of also attacking them, which hurts my feelings. Now, maybe I deserve to be attacked, but I just feel like you let them off the hook somehow, but you never let me off the hook, which hurts my feelings. And so I'm not saying that I'm not to blame for things, but I would like a little bit of feeling like we're on the same team. And because I love you and I want to have a close relationship with you, and I really depend on you to make me feel like I'm valid in some way. And I'm not saying I'm 100% valid all the time. That's not what I'm saying, but just feeling like you care, or you see me, or you understand me, or something. I'm guessing that's what he would say, but he doesn't say that. Probably doesn't even consciously know that. But what he says is, you're my wife, and you need to be on my side. You're always on their side. That's what he says. So I think he has a legitimate request and a legitimate feeling there, but he doesn't know how to communicate it in a way that makes it understandable. To Elizabeth, to Libby right now, she's just like, well, you did something wrong, so I don't understand what you're saying.
You have to understand like where I'm coming from. What? They were making jokes and all the attention was on me, and I got offended, and I couldn't just hold on to my feelings and not say anything back. I think I did too much.
All right, so he just admitted, I think I did too much. You think? You stood up and said, let's fight. I mean, you almost committed a crime on her brother because of words, because they were asking questions, So, yeah, not okay. But you also hear him say that they were, I can't remember the words he used, but it was something like, the father and her brother were being disrespectful, and he says, I have to say something to that. And again, that's that lens of, I will not ever be disrespected. I will not ever be dominated. I always have to be dominated. If someone goes up a rung on the ladder, I always have to go higher. If someone calls me out, I have to be even more outrageous and more aggressive. If they're aggressive, if they're a 3 out of 10 aggressive, I've got to go 5. I'm not going to meet them at a 3. I'm going to go 5. And I think he's running away from inferiority and being submissive. There's something traumatic in his history regarding that. Also, of course, there's toxic masculinity, which I'm guessing Moldova might share at least some aspects of gender socialization as my town. And if that's true, then there's these ideas that men have to be in control, and if they're not in control, then they're not a real man. And there's this constant pressure externally and internally to always be more aggressive, be more in control than other people. So that could be that's likely a factor. But anyway, yeah, I can't see this going on. Now, for Elizabeth, if she were to see this situation from a differentiated way as well, and, because I'm guessing what her goal is to have a resolution to this conflict, to have everyone stop fighting. And for Libby, I think what she could say right now would be something like, okay, so honey, I understand. I love you, and I'm on your team. And I totally get that you are annoyed with my brother and my father, and really a lot of people in my family. They annoy me too. But I need you to calm down. They're my family, and they annoy me. But I can't have you getting into fights with them verbally and physically. You understand? I understand where you're coming from. I understand why you're upset, but you need to not ever do that again. And the fact that you did that last night, and the fact that you're not really taking full responsibility for it right now, you're just saying the word you're sorry, but I don't feel like you're sorry. And it worries me because I'm worried that it's going to happen again or get worse. And I just can't have that kind of drama in my life. It's too stressful for me. So something along those lines of, I'm on your side, I love you, but here's how what you did affected me, that might help. Let's see what she says.
Like, what would provoke you to want to act that way?
Babe,
Like, I've never seen you act that way.
Babe, it's alcohol. I'm sorry about this.
Regardless, you need to apologize to my family.
I'm gonna apologize, maybe, because I said too much, and the alcohol was speaking.
So he's blaming it on alcohol 100%. I don't think that's true. Alcohol doesn't, a lot of people drink alcohol. Everyone at that table was drinking alcohol. He was the only one who acted like that. She was drinking alcohol, and he was the only one who acted like that. So if that's his conceptualization, then I don't see this changing in the future. The other thing is okay, if it's 100% alcohol, are you going to stop drinking? Because if that's the only reason why you did it, then I guess you just have to stop drinking, because otherwise, So it's frustrating to watch on this show. This happens often, where something bad will happen. Sometimes alcohol is involved. The person says, I'm sorry, but they don't really apologize in the full way, taking full responsibility, really knowing how they impacted other people. Being a man, owning up to it. I say being a man because in some toxic masculinity version, being a man means never apologizing. I remember Happy Days. Actually, you can't see it, but above my head on the shelf behind me is a Happy Days vintage lunchbox that I bought on eBay. And it has a Bionic Woman sticker, an old Bionic Woman sticker that's all kind of faded on the side of it. And I bought it because I have a lot of knickknacks on my shelf that I like to store. Anyway, point is Fonzie on Happy Days, if you're old like me, you remember he had a really hard time apologizing. He would go, instead of saying I'm sorry, he would go and it was this huge comedic moment for Fonzie on Happy Days. And Fonzie represented the masculine ideal. He was, which was kind of weird. If you didn't grow up in the 70s and watch that show, you're like, why was Fonzie the masculine ideal? But he was tough. He could do anything. He could fix anything. Just by hitting something, he could fix it. He rode a motorcycle. He had a tough guy outfit. Girls loved him. All he had to do was just look at women and whole groups of women. He was like Elvis or something. And he always had several women, very objectified, very sexist. And I bring this up because it was codified in our culture and is still somewhat present. I'm guessing in Moldova there's a similar aspect of men don't apologize. Because to apologize is to be submissive, and to be submissive is to be like a woman, and to be like a woman is the worst thing you could ever be as a man. And that's toxic masculinity. Positive masculinity, healthy masculinity, masculinity that I adhere to is you got to man up and apologize. Real men apologize. Real men will talk about their feelings because they aren't afraid to. Real men are not afraid to admit that they've done something wrong. Real men are chivalrous and will apologize when they have done something wrong because it's the right thing to do. Real men have morals. Real men understand ethics and will operate from there. Real men understand that no person is perfect and will apply that to themselves. Real men are intelligent enough to know that. And so I wonder if Andrei is following the Fonzie version of masculinity.
Like, how would that make you feel? Like, you don't even like to cuss in front of your parents, in English or in Romanian.
All right.
Like,
I got your point.
come on.
I got your point, Liv. This was too much. So, like, I that was, like, my mistake. But if Charlie, like, if he just, like, pushes my button, he'll get it back.
Okay, I'll give him one thumb up for that. He is saying, okay, yes, that was my mistake. And that seems sincere. But he very quickly follows it up with, but Charlie, okay, yes, I think that's right. Charlie is to blame for a lot of it, honestly. At least 50% of the problem was his fault. So that's fine. But whenever you apologize and really take full responsibility, you want to sit there for a while. You don't want to quickly follow it up. This is a thing I work with my couples all the time is, they'll be fighting with each other about like, hey, you did this to me. And the person will be like, okay, yeah, you're right. I did say that thing, which was completely unfair, but you do that too sometimes. I can't tell you how many times I've seen couples do this. It's like, yeah, okay, I did that, but you do it too sometimes. It's like, you just erased the goodness of the apology and just be confident, live in that space. Yes, I did it and I'm sorry. And just don't have a but, don't have a however, just stick there. It's hard, it threatens our self-esteem, but know that it's okay to make mistakes, and everyone does, particularly when they're drinking. Just live in that space, give it some breathing room, let it resolve, and then you can bring up Charlie later.
Today, I a little bit agree with the fact that I crossed the line of Chuck. I shouldn't have said all of the mean things to him, but I did. But to Charlie, I don't feel any regrets because he actually asked me if I came to America because it's America.
All right. So, premature thumbs up, if that's a thing. Maybe that's a t-shirt. He says, okay, I did cross the line with Charlie. It's true. But I have no regrets because he called me out and insulted me. Okay, well, so which is it? You're sorry you did it, or you have no regrets?
I'm willing to just like to talk with Chuck about this, but Charlie, he needs to apologize for the behavior too.
Oh, the dad's name is Chuck and the kid's name is Charlie. I don't think I knew that up until this point. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.